the Aam Aadmi Party Delhi government. Jain is getting delivery of fruits and salads, that too by a jail attendant. Mineral water, access to TV, an attendant, meeting personal visitors inside the cell. It is clear something is going horribly wrong as the minister from the Delhi cabinet stays inside Tihar jail. While officials have been suspended, some have been transferred, others are facing a probe. The political question is, why does an honest minister from an honest party need to violate jail norms so blatantly and get VVIP treatment, especially when they claim to stand for the Aam Aadmi? Will a commoner get this treatment inside jail? Is Jain not getting this treatment because he continues to be a minister in Delhi cabinet and was in fact in charge of prisons before his portfolios were taken away? But what has especially stoked the curiosity of many is that the same man claimed he was not getting proper food and lost 28 kilograms while in jail. Meanwhile, there is also a tussle going on in courts of how these videos are coming out in the first place. Jain's counsel, for example, has alleged that ED, the Enforcement Directorate, is behind these leaks, and even Tihar administration has been asked to respond. Politically, the Aam Aadmi Party government is under fire. What's stopping Arvind Kejriwal from sacking Jain as a minister to send a message of propriety? Will their justifications fall flat? And now there is a complete refusal to even acknowledge this issue. Will all of this hurt them ahead of the MCD elections in Delhi? Because really, the focus is on that. The battle is truly about that. We will take those questions to our guests in just a bit. But first, let me break down how the Aam Aadmi Party jailed minister Satyendra Jain has been getting VIP treatment inside jail. So here are some of the videos that have come to light. September 13, 2022 is the date of the first video. This CCTV footage shows Jain entertaining personal visitors inside his cell in Tihar, even getting a massage while he's at it. Remember, there's also a suggestion that he's actually watching TV in one of these videos. So how is he being provided with all of these relaxations and rules and jail norms? Remember, the Enforcement Directorate has accused him of also meeting witnesses in his own case while in jail. That's extremely serious. There's another video from September 14, 2022. This footage shows Jain getting a massage inside his cell, which is clear violation of jail rules. The man turned out to be not a physiotherapist as claimed, but a rape accused. Then there is CCTV footage dated 1st October 2022, which has just recently come out. It shows the imprisoned minister having elaborate meals inside his cell. The videos show a man bringing his food into his cell and the AAP minister is having this. These are multiple videos and some go on to show that there are snacks, appetizers, salads, etc. So there's really no dearth of what food he's eating. One after another, all of the Aam Aadmi Party's defenses are falling flat, and let me tell you why and how. Remember, Jain has filed an application in CBI court claiming that he was being starved by jail authorities. What the video clearly shows is that there are actually attendants bringing in his food. He's getting ample food and good food and outside food. No way do these videos suggest that there is a food issue, least of all anything else. I'm sure what Mr. Jain is getting is better than what most inmates get. Then there is also a claim that Mr. Jain, because of the treatment that Tihar authorities are giving him, actually has lost 28 kilos while in jail. This is a suggestion, of course, of how badly he's being treated. But Tihar sources tell us that actually the minister has gained 8 kilos in weight. Remember earlier on the massage videos, the Aam Aadmi Party had said that Jain has been prescribed physiotherapy and that's why he's taking these massages, the videos that I showed you. But what the video shows is that actually this is not physiotherapy. I think even an ordinary person can realize that. This is just a champi or a malish really. And this massage is being given not by a trained physiotherapist. It's been given by a rape accused. Proper treatment in jail is given to those who are authorized to get it by trained professionals in designated wards. Over the past few days, especially the last 2 days, the Aam Aadmi Party has been refusing to respond to these videos. But listen into what Delhi Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister have said on the Jain issue. Do these arguments justify what's happening?
अमित शाह जी जब यहाँ के मंत्री थे गुजरात में, वो जब जेल में थे, उनको वीआईपी ट्रीटमेंट जो मिला था यहाँ पे जेल में गुजरात में, ऐसा कोई वीआईपी ट्रीटमेंट सत्येंद्र जैन को नहीं मिल रहा। आप पता कर लीजिए यहाँ पे अमित शाह को क्या वीआईपी ट्रीटमेंट मिलता था।
जेल से जब उनको हॉस्पिटल में ले जाया गया और उनका ऑपरेशन किया गया, उसके बाद जब ऑपरेशन करके वहाँ से उनको वापस जेल भेजा गया तो डॉक्टर ने लिख के दिया है कि उनको रेगुलर फिजियोथेरेपी की ज़रूरत है।
So first, a masseuse who turns out to be a rape accused and actually not a physiotherapist, now having elaborate meals inside jail. After claiming that Jain was actually not even getting proper food. Are all of these defences of the Aam Aadmi Party falling flat? That's the big question and the debate coming up in just a bit.
मतलब अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने पूरा इंतजाम किया कि तिहाड़ में सत्येंद्र जैन और भ्रष्टाचारियों को ना मिले सजा, उनको मिले वीवीआईपी मजा। अब सत्येंद्र जैन को किस आधार पर मंत्री बनाए रखेंगे?
It's not a jail, it's a luxury resort, and Mr. Satyen Jain is on a holiday. This man needs to be transferred out of this jail and sent to some other jail.
Let's go across to the guests who are joining us. Vineet Goenka is the BJP spokesperson joining us on the show. Syed Asad Abbas is political analyst, leans towards the Aam Aadmi Party. I must mention here again, just like the last 2 days, the Aam Aadmi Party has refused to send their representative on this issue. Ved Bhushan is former ACP Delhi Police. Umesh Sehgal is former Chief Secretary Delhi. Sunil Kumar Gupta is former legal advisor of Tihar. And remember, there are questions being raised of the Tihar authorities, just generally, because there is that issue of the con man or the con accused, Sukesh Chandrasekhar, also raising very serious allegations of what really went on in Tihar while he was also there. But I want to begin with Syed Asad Abbas. In the absence of an Aam Aadmi Party representative, Syed, I want to understand from you, it could be any political party, it could be any minister, it could be any state. While there can be questions asked of who else did what and what happens in jails by and large, here is a sitting minister of the Delhi government, a government that claims to be holier than thou. Repeatedly videos are coming out to show that clearly he is getting VIP treatment. Is that not a problem for the Aam Aadmi Party and should it not be?
Well, the fact of the matter is that I'm no official representative or spokesperson of the party. Well, the channel of yours requested me to come on air to present my views, and I shall do the same. Well, certainly I was listening to your opening statement, ma'am, and you've made some points very categorically clear. We can certainly see what is happening there. I would certainly say that there must be a clear-cut investigation on the same as to what is happening here. How did this video get out? This video is of internal privacy and security. How does the Bharatiya Janata Party get acquire of this video? Isn't that violation of the rule of law, order, and the courts, and insult to the jail authorities? Also, as a matter of fact, also a question comes in that why is the BJP doing this? BJP believes to win elections.
BJP is the opposition to the Aam Aadmi Party. What else do you expect the political party to do? What kind of a question is this? Why is the BJP doing this?
Okay, so is it okay to break the rules, ma'am, according to you?
What rule have they broken?
Videos out? Of course, leaking the video is not a rule broken.
Are you saying BJP has leaked the video? Or the BJP got hands on the video and they're releasing it?
Of course. Ma'am, your channel hai, BJP tweets the video. Your channel 3 PM.
But anybody can tweet the video. That doesn't mean they leaked it. They got their hands on it. Unless you're making the charge that the BJP has leaked it.
Ma'am, how else do you think it has come across?
I don't know. You tell me.
Any other way? Absolutely not. The best interest is of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Of course they have an interest. But how is that a defense? Syed, understand what I'm saying, and I'm sick and tired of these defenses. Of course they're using this. Of course they're going to play it up. Of course this is about MCD elections. This is politics. But my fundamental question to you is, what is the video showing? Is that of no relevance? Are we to ignore it?
Okay, now allow me to answer, ma'am, 30 seconds. Well, I already answered your question in my opening statement when I said there must be a clear-cut investigation on the same video as to what we see happening with respect to the jail manual.
No,
What
no,
did we
you
see in the
said
jail
there should
manual,
be an
please?
investigation of how these videos are coming out. It's a fair question. I will take that to authorities. But what about the propriety involved? The Aam Aadmi Party is
Ma'am,
refusing to acknowledge that their minister is getting VVIP treatment. How does this differentiate a party that claims to stand for the commoner? How does it differentiate the party that claims to say they are more honest than anybody else?
like I understand what you said, you're sick and tired of asking the same questions. Ma'am, I'm also sick and tired of answering the same questions. I did say you did not hear me clearly. What we see in the video, there must be a clear-cut investigation on that. There will be questions raised, and the respective parties, be it Aam Aadmi Party or BJP, are liable to answer for that. Whatever is being shown in the video,
Okay, can
that
I
is the
just ask you a
statement I
simple
made.
question before I open this up? Do you believe it hurts the Aam Aadmi Party's image? You're a political analyst, you're not this official spokesperson, there is no
Absolutely.
doubt over that, and neither am I projecting you as one. But you seem to have a soft spot for them. I just want to understand from you, as even as a supporter of the Aam Aadmi Party, does this not hurt their image?
Absolutely not, because I believe it's not just Dil Walon ki Dilli, but also Dimag Walon ki Dilli. They know the conspiracy, they know the Shadyantra of the BJP, how sote jate utte bete, they want to attack the Aam Aadmi Party because they are scared. Anti-incumbency in the NCD, Aam Aadmi Party will win it hands down. Not just that, but even in the Gujarat too. Bokla gayi hai aaj BJP. They are in a tight spot. So therefore, they don't want to talk about the issues in Delhi. They don't want to talk about the garbage mountains. They don't want to talk about the NCD schools, dispensaries,
Okay, fair
parking
enough. Now
spots,
that's a
nothing.
valid
They
point. I'll
want to
take
do
that to
this.
Vineet
This target.
Goenka. The problem is that all of this is being surrounded, all of us are being surrounded by these videos. Yes, they raise an important propriety question. They raise an important legal question also as far as jail manual is concerned. It raises an image question. But if all of this is aimed at the MCD elections, how does this impact what the MCD issues are?
Shivani ji, Ram Ram to you, all my panelists and all the viewers who are watching this particular debate. Let me answer you one by one, and there have been several questions been raised by you and the earlier speaker. One point which I would like to put it in front of the August audience who would be watching this is, what is that information which Satyendra Jain has, which is been feared by Manish Sisodiya and Arvind Kejriwal? Why are they protecting, defending this indefensible? And what is that fascinates Arvind Kejriwal and Sisodiya? See, the Aam Aadmi Party has one fascination for rapist. Be it be rapist or Nirbhaya, whom they awarded that sewing machine, or one of their elected representative, some relative has been also accused of rape. Now they are using a POSCO rapist for massage. So they have some fascination with this rapist. So they have to come and tell two things to the world. And if your channel can ask Arvind Kejriwal, क्या बात है कि आप इतना घबराए हो कि आप सत्येंद्र जैन को बचाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो? See, when it was Gautam's case, he immediately terminated Gautam. Get lost. You have done mistake, we will throw you out. But here, there are videos coming out. There are videos coming out of massage. There are videos coming out of chatting with multiple people, which is not supposed to do it. There are TV remote. There are mineral water bottles there. I know what not will come out later on. And what lame excuse are they giving? Is that the video coming out? For the learned friend who spoke before me, these videos are in the custody of DG prison and also prison. And I'm sure there is some honesty been left with officers in the jail system. And that's why this video would have come out. Because this video would not have come out because of somebody taking bribe from this corrupt con man or this Hawala racketer. But maybe there are some certain officers who are honest. And I think India today runs on those officers, and I salute them in this channel right now.
No, but
And
one second, Vineet Goenka, let me come in. Let me come in. There's a question that has been raised on the ED also, that such leaks are not acceptable beyond a point, and certainly a complainant has the right to ask how these videos are coming out. Don't you think that's a fair question to ask? I'm not disputing the fact that politically speaking, there is a propriety issue in these videos, but how are these videos coming to light? You may be getting them through some source, but surely the jail authorities and the ED have a responsibility here.
So let me put the things in perspective. All the videos which you have seen are coming through some or the other news agency, and we are just retweeting it or forwarding it, and we have that right. If you see something which is coming up of Satyendra Jain, naturally, out of curiosity, out of our interest in him, we would naturally propagate that. Propaganda will be done around that particular part. but you'll have to go and ask that agency who has given it to you. So you'll have to ask ANI if the tweet has come from ANI, which I have retweeted, or and if you come to that it has been given by one particular officer in the jail, that can be questioned, and that is a procedural questions. The more important part is these shameless people who are accused, who are been denied bail. They can hold meetings and shamelessly they can go and ask the court that stop the videos to come out, where he should have been, punished. He should have been thrown out of the system. He has been protected. So my question, which I would like to refocus is, कोई ऐसी बात है जो अरविंद केजरीवाल की उसके पास है, जिसके डर से अरविंद केजरीवाल उसको बचा रहा है.
Okay,
so that people would like to know that what is that particular thing which he is holding. And see this Aam Aadmi Party, they have fascination with rapists. Everywhere you see their rapists with them. They don't have a single female minister in Delhi.
Okay, Vinit Goenka, let's stay focused on the issue of Satyendra Jain. I can't open this up to other issues. Yes, Syed Aspas, very quickly, please respond. 30 seconds, I have to go to my other guest.
I think it's absolutely immature to call out Mr. Goenka that fascination which party
does that? Isn't it true that the rapists, they have awarded, they have gifted this money to this Nirbhaya rapist? Isn't it true? Isn't it true that some elected individuals, her father-in-law or father or
Sonali is speaking between me. I cannot make a point. This is not fair. I did not speak when you spoke, sir. Allow me to speak, sir.
Even if you're not representing Aam Aadmi Party, let me tell you,
you're absolutely exposed today because, see, this is what you do. Your spokesperson, you do not have the manner to debate, sir. You're trying to speak over me, take my voice down. You cannot do that.
Don't tell lie to the people, right?
You cannot
fool around.
You cannot
Isn't
do that.
It true? Nirbhaya rapist was given Shivan machine. Isn't it true?
Sonali, this is not fair.
One of the lady
Man is so
MLAs.
scared of me. He's not allowing me.
Okay, can I just come in? Can I just come in? I think Asad, one second. I think Asad was raising a point that it's unfair to say that there is some fascination that the Aam Aadmi Party has with rapists. One second. Vinit, one second. But my question is, you may not like the way Vinit Goenka, who's a political opponent of the Aam Aadmi Party, is phrasing it. But Asad, I'm asking you, is it not a problem that a POCSO charge rape accused is sitting and massaging the minister's feet? Is it not a problem?
Absolutely, it is. Who would deny that? It's the same reason.
So that's
why
only the question that we're debating. Is this proper
of
a sitting minister?
Right at the opening, ma'am, can you please be fair? You allow BJP guy to speak so much.
No, I gave you ample time also. Don't act like a victim.
Please be fair, ma'am. Please, for once, allow me to speak 30 seconds.
You got all the
please.
Time before anybody spoke.
Or you allow this person to speak over me.
Can you please finish your point? Come to the point and finish
your point. Ma'am, your channel has called me 5 times.
Asad, can you please finish your point?
Respect my time. Kindly respect my time and ask the BJP spokesperson to
only
please
one
shut
question
up
to you.
when
One
I
question
speak.
to you.
Vinit, I'll come to you. Just let him finish, I'll come to you.
Isn't it unfair on part of
Can you
Kejriwal
please
to
shut
not
up, sir? Very respectfully, I ask you to shut up.
Why?
Allow me 30 seconds.
You will be a criminal. You will be on the side of a criminal. You will ask the people to shut up.
No, allow me.
You feel ashamed of yourself.
Okay, can I just come in? I think both of you are getting trapped in just verbal battle and both of you are not making your point. I want to bring in Umesh Sehgal, who's the former chief secretary with the Delhi government. I want to understand from you, Mr. Sehgal, the questions of propriety that are emerging. Obviously, there are issues of, how this is happening in Tihar and how are these videos coming to light. But ultimately, we can hold accountable political representatives, especially in an electoral atmosphere. Do you think these videos are posing a very serious propriety question for the Aam Aadmi Party government that has so far refused to sack Jain as a minister?
Well, the first thing here is that a serving minister who was in charge of jails is in jail. Yeah. That should have been kept in mind, and it was not. Now, this is a proprietary decision of the chief minister to retain a minister who is in jail, to retain him or not. But the point is, if you have not retained him, you are answerable for his actions in the jail.
Right.
The jail manual is extremely clear, is very clear. There is no doubt there that the same food has to be given to everyone. If there is a medical problem, you go to hospital or you go to designated areas, XYZ. It's all clearly laid down. Now the point is that there have been videos. Now the issue is being sidestepped. What you are saying is, how did the video leak out? The problem is that the whistleblower's role is recognized even by the Supreme Court, that whistleblowers are there and whistleblowers need protection. In fact, there has been demand that there should be a whistleblower's bill. Obviously, there is a whistleblower here. Someone has leaked this to the court. Now the matter is sub judice, so I am not going to claim, going to talk very much about it, because a complaint has been made in the court, and the court is trying to find out that whether how was this leaked to them, or get them find out. But the point I am making is that even if this was leaked by the DG there or by the prison authorities, he could be a whistleblower. What he is really doing is, he is blowing the whistle. So what is this? There is nothing wrong that he is doing. Now, why this becomes extremely important is that Mr. Kejriwal himself had made a statement when he was not in government, that this present dispensation is giving preference to people in the jail. We will never do that. We will never do that. Everybody is going to be treated equally. Now, if that was a promise given by a person who becomes the chief minister, and jail is not something which is the reserved subject of the lieutenant governor, jail is a transferred subject. It is clearly a subject with the elected government. So, if something has happened in the jail, they are responsible. Even if there is a leak, and if it is not a whistleblower or whatever it is, they are responsible for it. Now, merely to say that there should be an investigation is not good enough.
No, they are actually not even saying this much. Unfortunately, the Aam Aadmi Party is now for the last 3 days refusing to comment on it. But they are not saying that how are these videos coming to light. That is Jain's counsel who has gone to court and asked for a restraining order and some action on these videos coming to light. The point is the Aam Aadmi Party is not making any defenses but for saying, look at what happened when Amit Shah was in jail, but you claim to be different than BJP and better than BJP. Look at the fact that they first tried to, insult our intelligence by suggesting that this man who's doing this massage to Jain is some sort of a physiotherapist. I mean, even a commoner understands what the physiotherapy is and what a champi is. But let me go across to ex-legal advisor of Tihar Jail, Mr. Sunil Kumar, who is joining us. As an individual and as a citizen, it is raising questions of what goes on in Tihar Jail. We thought this was one of the best managed jails. On top of that, these videos keep coming out with regularity. Is there no control over officials, over what happens in Tihar Jail? Mr. Gupta?
Yeah, it seems that there is loose control, so everything is happening. You see, earlier Sukesh case has happened, then Ankit Gujar case has happened, and so many scandals are taking place. And in this case also, in Satinder Jain case also, I find that there is grave irregularity and violation of jail manual provisions. Like you see that under the jail manual, no prisoner is provided with the bed. Actually, nobody is raising this, but I am raising. Nobody can be provided bed. Nobody can be provided bed in the cell. Here you can see that he has been provided bed, gada, and pillow and this cushiony takiya also. So this is not allowed to other prisoners. Secondly, when we talked about this food, it was being reported that this food was being supplied from outside by his relations. No ordinary prisoner is allowed to import food from outside.
Right.
This was banned way back in year 2014 because the prisoners were in the habit of importing these prohibited articles like mobile phones, currency notes and smack etc. in the food article, mingle with the food articles. So this was completely banned in 2014. This is the second violation. Third violation is that her relations, particularly his wife, she is coming to the jail to meet him
regularly.
As per rules, no one can be allowed to visit the prisoner inside the jails. They are allowed 2 visits per week, and those visits are on the one side of this iron grill. One side are the relation, and on the second are the prisoner. So these are the glaring violations committed in the treatment being given to the
Can I just ask you one more thing? In addition to the violations you're pointing out, even the food being brought in by somebody else into the cell. You talked about the bed. Thank you for raising that point. But even the food, are inmates allowed to have food in their own cell like this?
No. Basically, the food provided by the jail administration is being consumed by the prisoner in their cell or in their barracks. That is, they can have these food in the cells. But
not outside
here
food.
You can see that one under trial is standing there to help him somebody is massaging him. These all are very glare, these
So, sir,
violation
how is
of the
this
jail
happening?
manual.
How is this happening? Is this because this man was once in charge of prisons in Delhi, is a sitting minister? Why is this happening? And what is the accountability of Tihar officials today? One, that this is happening, and second, that these videos are being leaked.
Yeah, this is happening. You see, when Mr. Jain was in the LNJP hospital earlier, there also it was alleged that he is getting favorable report from the hospital.
Yes.
And here also, since he is the prison minister, every prison official, they take one-upmanship in helping him, and that is the reason he is getting everything. And when superintendent jail is coming to the pressure of the jail minister, then you see every this administrative action is become challengeable and system collapse.
Right. Okay. Can I bring in Ved Bhushan as well? What do you make of the fact that, let's say, the Aam Aadmi Party or several people are saying that, one, how are these videos being leaked? And if this is being allowed, then, you know, what can they do about it?
Shivani,
Ultimately, the blame is with the Tihar authorities, no? So they're allowing it.
there is an old proverb, जब सैया भय कोतवाल तो डर काहे का. It's very strange. इंडिया के इतिहास में एक जेल मिनिस्टर खुद जेल में है शिवानी, और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात है, ही इज इन जुडिशियल कस्टडी, ही इज फेसिंग ए सीरियस ग्रेव चार्ज और ईडी. वन मोर थिंग, ही इज इन जेल. देयर इज अ मर्डर इन मूसेवाला. Lawrence Bishnoi is operating from jail. It is alleged that he is using mobile phone from there. Second point, there is a Sukesh Chandrasekhar. There's some lot of things are coming out now. It is from jail. He is also in jail. He is getting lot of facilities in the jail itself. Sukesh Chandrasekhar. Number 3, the food you see, the massage is going on. There is a hospital in the jail premises itself.
Yes.
I visited 100 times of jail. मैंने ऐसा माहौल कभी नहीं देखा पुलिस की नौकरी में और जेल के इतिहास के अंदर. एक राजकुमार की पिक्चर आई थी उजाला, उसमें वो विलेन का रोल करते हैं. जिस तरह से वो आते हैं जेल में, जिस तरह से चंपियां मसाज होती हैं, एक वीआईपी ट्रीटमेंट मिलता है, जैसे डॉन आ रहा है. इट गिव्स फीलिंग लाइक ए डॉन, नॉट एन ए मिनिस्टर. और इट्स शेम फॉर अस. पूरा इंडिया इस चीज को देख रहा है कि किस तरह से हमारा एक मंत्री, बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट डिपार्टमेंट है, हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट, जेल डिपार्टमेंट, वेरी इन्फ्लुएंशियल पीपल ऑफ दिल्ली, बिल्कुल सारे जितने जेल मैनुअल्स के रूल्स रेगुलेशन, जो उनके पीपीआर हैं, जो प्रोसिक्यूटिंग जो प्रोसीजर है, तमाम को वायलेट करके जिस तरह से फैसिलिटीज एक्सटेंड की गई हैं, वेदर ये मसाज, इट्स नॉट ए मसाज, सब कुछ, देयर इज नो फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट की कोई रिकमेंडेशन नहीं है, देयर इज नथिंग लाइक दैट. अब सबसे बड़ा इशू जो रेज किया जा रहा है कि ये वीडियो लीक आउट कैसे की गई. मेरा इशू ये है कि वीडियो ये बताइए सही है या गलत है. बिकॉज ही इज इन जुडिशियल कस्टडी, दिस मैटर विल गो टू कोर्ट ऑल्सो.
No, you're right in that, and I will not allow that question that ये videos आ कहाँ से रही है to deflect from the main issue कि वीडियो में दिख क्या रहा है.
What is inside the video?
Absolutely, वीडियो में दिख क्या रहा है, ये बहुत ही ज्यादा important है.
कि वो अब इस जेल में रहने के, दिल्ली में जेलों में रहने के हकदार हैं या नहीं, या उनको दूसरे इस दिल्ली, इस हिंदुस्तान के अंदर लालू यादव जेल में रहे चीफ मिनिस्टर, चौटाला जेल में रहे, ऐसी फैसिलिटी मैंने उनको कभी भी एक्सटेंड होते हुए नहीं देखी जिस तरह से ये फैसिलिटी एक्सटेंड हो रही है. इट्स अ शेम फॉर अस. For all of us, for all of India.
No, the problem is, Syed Asad Abbas, the problem is that this is shameful what's happening. This is precisely the crux of why we're debating this. And yet the Aam Aadmi Party feels they can completely sidestep this issue. It doesn't matter.
Shivani ji, firstly, I think as an analyst that such an issue can absolutely not be sidestepped whatsoever. Like I said, let there be a complete investigation on everything that we see, be it the physiotherapy, be it the food, be it the visitor, and let the guilty be punished. I'm making a clear-cut stand on your show.
So,
but also allow
forget the guilty being punished. Asad, 1 second. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you. Forget the guilty being punished. What should be the response of the political party that's keeping him as a minister in their cabinet? The least we expected, while he's in jail, while he fights his cases, while this embarrassing video gate is coming to light, at least sack him as a minister. No, show that you stand for propriety. Is that too much to ask?
Allow me just 1 minute without interrupting, Shivani ji. Please, it's a humble request. The fact is that absolutely not. Let there be a High Court of conviction order on the PMLA, the case which is running against Satyendra Ji. I'm sure that Arvind Kejriwal ji will definitely ask him to step down, resign, and keep him behind bars. The larger question is, yes, there is a sinister design of plot here. No doubt, there must be investigation on this video and guilty must be charged. But also, let's look at the bigger picture. It is the BJP party which is time and again using CBI, ED, IT against the Aam Aadmi party. Why so? Because they are scared they will lose the MCD election.
Okay, I'm not going to get into that. I've debated that enough times. I can't get into the central agencies battle right now. There has been enough opportunities for Jain in this case and many other accused to fight their cases in court. He's been denied bail. Let's not make a mockery of the system which is monitored by courts.
30 seconds to complete my point. Just 30 seconds.
Can I come in?
Okay, 30 seconds, then Vinit Goenka.
Yeah.
30 seconds. Thank you very much, Shivani.
Mr. Goenka, hold on. Mr. Goenka, hold on. 30 seconds to him, then I'll come to you. Yes.
Thank you, Shivani.
Syed,
Thank
please
you very
finish.
much. The larger conspiracy here is 10 days to go for the MCD election. I challenge on the show today to the BJP. 10 more videos will come out.
So what?
Today they don't want. Distraction politics is what BJP does.
But this is raising a question that is of propriety of a sitting government and a sitting minister. No, I'm sorry. Whether it is MCD elections coming in, whether it is Gujarat elections, it doesn't matter. The content of the video is supreme. No, you've made the same point multiple times now, Syed. Let me go to Vinit Goenka. You doing all of this to put the Aam Aadmi party under the gun before MCD elections, and obviously there's Gujarat elections also happening.
Politics. BJP has mastered distraction politics. They are distracting the people of Delhi.
What is it distracting us from? It is an issue.
There is distraction here, ma'am.
You think this is not an important issue? That a minister is getting VVIP treatment?
Talk on the MCD issues. Talk on the Delhi issues.
But that doesn't mean that it is mutually exclusive. You can talk about both. In any case, Syed, you made your point. Vinit Goenka, I don't understand how one can make an argument that because MCD elections are coming in, let's not talk about anything else that's coming to light. Let's only talk about that. That doesn't work. We are not single-minded like with blinkers as horses. We can discuss multiple issues. Anyways, Vinit Goenka.
Let's talk about everything.
Vinit Goenka, please. Mr. Goenka, I have a minute for you. You're muted, I think.
Well, they are muted on Delhi issues. MCD issues, they are muted, Shivani ji. They have nothing to speak. They can only distract the people.
Mr. Goenka, I can't hear you. Are we getting his audio? Mr. Goenka, I cannot hear you. Can you please unmute yourself?
Ma'am, when...
Syed, please, not like this. Please don't heckle like this. Me and Mr. Vinit Goenka, please. Can you hear me, Mr. Goenka? Please go ahead. I have a minute left.
They are distracting the people, Shivani ji. We need to understand when the people are saying kuda ka kuch karo, they are only doing video. I challenge the
I cannot hear him.
Talk on MCD issues.
All right. Let the public be the judge of that, whether this is a distraction or an actual issue. Unfortunately, I'm not getting Mr. Goenka's audio. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Will this eventually be treated as something that is a side issue in the run-up to MCD elections? And is this an important issue or not? What the treatment the minister is getting? That debate is open. Time for me to slip into a very short break, but here's a reminder of what is coming up on the other side. A conversation with the member of the Economic Advisory Council to the PM, Sanjeev Sanyal. And this is on the global indices, the ratings in which India, especially recently, is doing poorly. Why so? Is there a bias involved? That conversation is coming up in just a bit.
Continue to enjoy a VVIP treatment. A series of video images coming out. For example, getting that massage. Very clearly experts saying that it was not a physiotherapy session. It was also a massage given by a rape accused. And also now the latest video which we have been seeing being put out by the BJP since early this morning, where they show him, contrary to claims by Satyendra Jain's counsel that he was not being served nutritious food. It becomes important also, Toya, because one of the main grounds on which bail is being sought for Mr. Jain is on health grounds. And because of those health conditions, he should be given bail because he's not getting good food inside the jail and has been consistently losing weight. All those holes are being pricked by the BJP via the video which they have put out since morning.
Charu Pragya, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Over the last few hours, we've heard from multiple BJP spokespeople, all of who have said that the videos that we can see are proof that Satyendra Jain did receive special treatment. Now, the other thing here is that we haven't had a statement from the Aam Aadmi Party addressing these videos all the videos that came forward yesterday. But the one question that is being raised is why is the BJP using videos where we don't even know the source? We don't know who's put these videos out into the public domain in the first place. To that, what does the BJP have to say?
See, the fact of the matter is, whatever the source is, and I'm sure you'll get to that, whatever the source is, what these videos are showing us is critical. They are showing us a corrupt minister of Aam Aadmi Party who is behind bars since 5 months, who is not getting bail, who is enjoying every material comfort you can think of, whether it is fancy food, whether it is a massage, whether, he's being able to run his scams and deals from behind bars. Now, these are the things that we need to pay attention to, because here is a political party which came to power talking about India against corruption. Here is a political party which calls itself Kattar Imandar. And how do they show this? They are not walking the talk. They have proved themselves to be not just corrupt, but horrible liars. Because I can't forget that video footage of CM Kejriwal ji talking about Mr. Jain needing a physiotherapist. Who are you trying to fool? Not that I believed it then, but then there were clarifications out that is Rinku the prisoner, who's actually a rapist, not a physiotherapist. He's putting on weight in jail, 8 kilos in jail. How is that possible if you're not being pampered day and night? See, this is not what we want for our country. This is not what politics is supposed to be.
Okay.
And I've been saying this from the very beginning. He needs to begin by either offering a resignation and then we talk more about him, because it's terrible.
Delhi, remember, is set to see the MCD elections in just a few days from now. The BJP is facing off the Aam Aadmi Party. In the context of that, the volley of words between two parties has only increased. This is after a video of the jailed Delhi minister Satyendra Jain has emerged again today. Yesterday, remember, there was controversy over a different such video and the purported special treatment that the BJP is claiming that the jailed Aam Aadmi Party leader is receiving while he is in jail. Now, in the video that's come out today, the BJP is alleging that he can be seen having food that has come from the outside. I do want to bring you a little bit of context here. Satyendra Jain had filed a plea with the court stating that while he was in jail, he was not being given food like mixed seeds, dry fruits, food that he required to fit to his diet. Now the BJP, it seems, is using the video that's just come out to show that he is receiving plenty of food. They're furthering that allegation and saying that he's possibly receiving food from outside the jail. We don't obviously yet have evidence on this. Now, I do want to bring you further context on this entire story. Remember, the other thing that has been claimed over here by Satyendra Jain's lawyer is that Jain lost around 28 kgs while he was in jail. This information too, it seems Tihar jail sources are saying is not correct. They're saying he, in fact, gained weight while he was inside jail. All of these details are being used by the BJP to argue that he's been receiving special treatment while Satyendra Jain is in jail. This is while the Aam Aadmi Party continues to say the BJP is making this a poll issue to distract during the MCD elections. I'll show you first what Shehzad Poonewala from the BJP had to say. Then we'll take a look at more responses.
और अब एक नया वीडियो सामने आया है जिसमें कि सत्येंद्र जैन दिखाई देते हैं कि उन्हें बाहर से खाना लाकर परोसा गया है। क्या ये भी किसी ट्रीटमेंट का हिस्सा है या ये वीवीआईपी करप्शन ट्रीटमेंट और करप्शन थेरेपी का हिस्सा है? ये करप्शन थेरेपी है जहां पर एक मंत्री 5 महीने से जेल में है। मतलब अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने पूरा इंतजाम किया कि तिहाड़ में सत्येंद्र जैन और भ्रष्टाचारियों को ना मिले सजा, उनको मिले वीवीआईपी मजा। अब सत्येंद्र जैन को किस आधार पर मंत्री बनाए रखेंगे? क्या इस वीडियो का भी बचाव करने के लिए अरविंद केजरीवाल और कंपनी सामने आएगी? क्या इसको भी फिजियोथेरेपी का हिस्सा बताएगी?
आम आदमी पार्टी के लोग अब कोर्ट में भी झूठ बोलने से बाज नहीं आ रहे हैं। आम आदमी पार्टी के वकील कह रहे हैं कि सत्येंद्र जैन का 28 किलो वजन कम हो गया क्योंकि उनको जेल में खाना नहीं मिल रहा। लेकिन आज जो वीडियो नजर आ रहे हैं उसमें ना सिर्फ खाना मिल रहा है बल्कि प्रॉपर खाना मिल रहा है, उनको मेवे तक मिल रहे हैं। ऐसा लग रहा है कि वो किसी जेल में नहीं है, किसी रिजॉर्ट के कमरे में बैठ के वहां पे लुत्फ उठा रहे हैं खाने का। जो हमने देख रहे हैं, आप राइट साइड में देखें, मोटी तार भी नजर आ रही है, मुझे लगता है वो एयर कंडीशनिंग की तार है। झूठ जो बोला जा रहा है वो आम आदमी पार्टी एक्सपोज हो गई है। खाना, मनपसंद खाना, मेवे मिलना और रोज मिलना, कोई ये एक दिन का वीडियो नहीं है.
Welcome back. Now, there has been a massive debate in India on global indices, especially so-called democracy ratings that routinely rate Indian democracy poorly or downgrade Indian democracy. Recently, Australia-based sociologist Salvatore Babones, associate professor at Sydney University and author of several acclaimed books, had created a flutter in India by saying that these global houses that release the ratings themselves are not biased. It is the Indian intellectuals who they speak to who are anti-India, and therefore the ratings reflect that. Later though, even Babones accepted that these organizations have a responsibility to look at the people whose opinions are driving these ratings. Is the methodology itself not wrong? Do these ratings remain credible anymore? And what can be done about this? I will take those questions to Sanjeev Sanyal, member, Economic Advisory Council to the PM, who has released a paper with Akansha Arora on why India fares poorly on these ratings and indices. But first, let me also break down what some of these ratings have said on India recently. First is Freedom of the World Index 2021, which termed India as only being partly free. You know how these ratings work? It is actually their staff, analysts and experts who answer questions on a country on the basis of which this rating is then arrived at. Economist Intelligence Unit's Democracy Index called India a flawed democracy. Again, based on expert assessment and supposedly on public opinion surveys, but what these surveys on India are, nobody has really seen. Finally, Sweden's Varieties of Democracy report this year called us the biggest democracy in the world with the largest electoral exercise as electoral autocracy. Again, all they have are 5 country experts whose opinions decide these ratings. How can any of these ratings be taken seriously then? Let's take that to our special guest today. Sanjeev Sanyal, member of the Economic Advisory Council to the PM. Thanks a lot for joining us and speaking to me about your paper. At first look itself, these ratings do seem a bit of a joke, don't they? Because their methodology is such, which has been put into question in the past as well. But why don't you begin by sharing in your paper what have you found about the methodology of speaking to a chosen few experts to define democracy in a country as large and diverse as India?
So, many other people have raised this issue about the methodologies for these various perception indices that are being bandied about. Now, they usually deal with subjects like freedom or democracy and so on. And what happens is that in the last few years, India's performance in them has dramatically dropped, sometimes, to levels that have not been seen since emergency. Now, it's laughable that you would suddenly begin to think that in the last few years, things have deteriorated so much in India that, democracy and freedom in India is now back to the levels it was during the emergency, or that, place like Afghanistan or even northern Cyprus has actually better ratings on some indicators than India does. So there are many problems, and I'm not the first person who's made this. But, many of those who make these arguments, they make the arguments on the basis is that, like, for example, Professor Salvatore Babones, who has been also making, criticizing these results, they tend to say that, look, broadly speaking, the think tanks and their methodology are generally speaking correct. That is not where the bias is. The bias is because the inputs that are coming in very often, at least in the case of Professor Babones, his cases that coming from a very biased Indian intellectual elite or a biased use of media reports. Their basic case is that the inputs are biased and therefore the output
is biased, yes.
I am making a somewhat different case. By the way, I agree with him, but I'm just making the case that the real problem is somewhat more than that. The problem is that the methodology that is used by many of these people is itself completely laughable in some cases. There are questions that don't make sense. There are questions that should be there that have been left out. It's based, as you mentioned, on a tiny number of people, not just for India, for the world. I mean, the opinion of 3-4 people for entire regions are used. For a country our size, these are the opinions of some 4, 5, maximum 6 people. So there are serious issues with the entire way it works. Then, of course, in addition to that, I have problems with also the biases of these institutions. So even if the input was all correct and the methodology was all correct, these institutions clearly have biases of their own. So in this sense, my views are somewhat beyond what many of the others are talking about, which is basically only criticizing the inputs that are going into the methodology. I have a serious problem with the methodology itself.
You have raised questions, for example, in your report, that the questions that are raised to come to conclusions on these ratings, those questions are also problematic. So could you give me a few examples of that? What questions do you think are peculiar in these ratings?
So I'll give you a whole bunch of them. So both questions that are asked and questions that are not asked. So, for example, there is one of these think tanks, VDEM, which is a Swedish think tank, has an entire sub-index on direct democracy, where basically India scores 0. Now, what is direct democracy? Basically, it's an indicator where India, or the country being question, is asked whether or not it holds direct referendums to come to democratic decisions on various issues. Now, I understand that Switzerland may be doing such things, and it is in fact that the highest direct democracy. But the fact is, how can you expect direct referendum-based democracy in a country with our population of 1.4 billion people? Now, this is obvious that this is not a meaningful question for a global comparison. It's a meaningful question only for a certain kind of small European democracy. Incidentally, US also scores 0 in this. Meanwhile, there are countries which score more than 0, Cuba or Afghanistan.
Right.
Now, you tell me, how is this even a meaningful measure of democracy? It's a peculiar view of democracy that is being imposed, and it's clearly not suitable for a global index of any kind. Now, let me tell you about the kinds of questions that should be asked, but that are obvious, but are not asked again. One of them is that there are no questions which ask whether or not the head of state of that country is elected. Okay. Now, surely asking whether or not a country has an elected head of state is an obvious question that you should ask for a democracy index. However, if you did ask this question, you would discover some of the favorites of these indices. For example, VDEM is a Swedish, Sweden-based think tank. They would discover that their own ratings would collapse because they're all constitutional monarchies. And not just the ones in Europe like Sweden or Norway or Denmark or Netherlands or the UK, Belgium, and so on. You also have countries like Canada and Australia and New Zealand, which are all ultimately part of the monarchical system. And so net result of this is that dropping this obvious and clearly pertinent question means that all these ratings rate all these Nordic countries, Northern European countries as very high up in these indicators, when indeed what they're doing is really not asking the questions that should be pertinent just because it would hurt their own ratings. So both questions that are asked and questions that are not asked.
Right. So both have problems. But the larger question that, some have begun to ask in India is that why should a select few decide what democracy is and which country has the right form or not so right form or bad form? External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, for example, had said that just because India no longer seeks their approval, doesn't want to play their game, they have come out with their own parameters, their own methodology, their own ratings, and they feel like this is something that should define the world.
Well, we can all agree on one if there was a discussion about it. What is happening here is that a tiny cabal of Western think tanks have basically taken it upon themselves to define what this means.
Right.
And effectively are then taking the narrative wherever suits their purpose. So you have, for example, India, which is clearly a thriving democracy, and there are clearly elections, but then you invent almost a new term to define us, which is electoral autocracy. Now, what an oxymoron. What on earth does it even mean?
Right.
So here you can see a new kind of colonialism that is happening, where basically you will be deconstructed and defined in a certain way, and therefore be judged on that. Now, you may say that, okay, it's their opinion, so it doesn't matter, ignore their opinion, can carry on. You can't, because let me explain to you. Many of these indices end up being included in things that are concrete. Like, for example, the three that are in my report that I mentioned, the EIU, VDEM, and Freedom House, all three of them ultimately end up in the World Bank's World Governance Indicator. Now, the World Governance Indicator then is used by the sovereign rating agencies and account for between 18 to 20% of the weightage. So 18 to 20% of your sovereign rating is based on, indirectly, all these opinions. And by the way, this is worse, because there is a huge movement, as you may be already aware, of putting ESG, that is environment, social, and governance indicators, into all kinds of things which require talk about trade or investment and so on. So now concrete decision making is going to be based on these kinds of fuzzy subjective questionnaires, etc., where the small clique of Western think tanks will essentially define us and essentially use this as a sort of nearly almost colonial control over how things operate.
Since you raised this, how we mustn't ignore these ratings and laugh them off, we need to take them seriously because they have real world consequences for India and neo-colonialism, as you mentioned. What can India do about it? I know that the Indian administration, for example, lately has begun to speak its mind, raised objections, as I mentioned, Mr. Jaishankar also. The Foreign Ministry has also spoken on this. But what do you think developing countries like India need to do when there's a clear effect of these very biased ratings?
So first of all, what we need right up front is to confront them intellectually, which is what we are doing, at least through this particular working paper. Then more concretely, we need to take this up with institutions that use these ratings. For example, the World Bank. The World Bank should be asked that, look, since you use these indicators in your World Governance Indicator, then you need to go and ask for transparency and accountability from these think tanks that provide you these inputs. And ask them the questions that we have raised, which are obvious questions. I mean, I don't think any reasonable person will object to the objections I have made. They're all pretty standard. So at the very least, there has to be that pushback. Longer term, however, we have to have countries outside of that small clique coming out and creating our own indices of various kinds. I would invite through you Indian think tanks, credible Indian think tanks, independent think tanks, should begin to come up with indicators, not just for India. They should go out and begin to rate the world. You see, as long as we do not turn the gaze on the rest of the world, rest of the world's gaze becomes our own gaze.
Right.
So this is very important. Just like these think tanks, Western think tanks, are trying to deconstruct us, we should be willing to deconstruct them. And then we should say that, look, your, let's say, the World Governance Indicator must include at least a minimum number of these indicators that are coming from other sources other than your handful that old European or North Atlantic based think tanks that are traditionally been providing these opinions. So I think this is something, incidentally, I think we should take up at the G20 as well. I think we should have a wider canvas of people who provide credible inputs. Now, of course, immediately this will become a difficult thing because nobody will agree on who should and shouldn't provide these inputs. But I think at the very least, this conversation needs to start. Otherwise, if we do not push back, we will then end up in this peculiar situation of being continuously and quite unfairly judged by groups that are clearly biased.
So basically, as you said earlier on Twitter, the monopoly of a few needs to be broken, and therefore more independent bodies from India should also turn the gaze outwards, as you pointed out. Sanjeev Sanyal, let's wait and see if that happens, but I do appreciate your time joining us and talking about the world indices. Thanks a lot for that. Moving on, let's get you a quick check of some of the other big updates we're tracking. 6 people, including 5 from Meghalaya and 1 Assamese forest guard, were killed in the incident at the Assam-Meghalaya border earlier. Meghalaya CM Conrad Sangma visited Mukro village and met the family members of the victims. Meanwhile, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma said that the incident was a clash between police in the forest and villagers. A probe has been referred to the CBI and the NIA, and a judicial inquiry has also been ordered.
These are put by the Assam police officials so that no vehicles can enter beyond this point. No vehicles with a registration of Assam can enter beyond this point because of the violence that was reported from the Assam-Meghalaya border from this place. The exact border where the violent incidents took place is actually 10 kilometers beyond this point. However, no vehicles, no commoners are being allowed to enter from this point itself.
Polygraph test of accused Aftab was not conducted today in the Shraddha murder case. According to cops, Aftab has a mild fever and it was decided to cancel his polygraph test as he is not medically fit. Meanwhile, hunt for Shraddha's body parts is still on. Police have recovered over 17 bones so far. Shiv Sena Uddhav faction leader Aditya Thackeray met Bihar Deputy Chief Minister and RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav in Patna today. Aditya and Tejasvi called it a courtesy meet.
जैसे आपने सुना होगा, तेजस्वी जी के साथ हमारी पहले से बातचीत चलती रही। 2 साल जब हमारी सरकार थी और उसी के पहले भी काफ़ी बार एक दूसरे से बातचीत होती रहती थी। कोविड का काल था तो मुलाकात नहीं हो पाई, लेकिन अभी अगर आप देखें तो उनका कार्य, नीतीश जी का कार्य काफ़ी अच्छे चल रहा है। बिहार में तरक्की होते दिख रही है। हमने सोचा यही कि बातें जो चल रही है मुलाकात भी हो जाए, इसलिए आज तेजस्वी जी से मुलाकात करने आए हैं। नीतीश जी के साथ भी, सीएम साहब के साथ भी मुलाकात हुई। यही बात हुई कि अलग अलग विषयों पे चर्चा हुई और यही बात को आगे लेते हुए मुझे यकीन है कि ये दोस्ती आगे चलते रहेगी।
A massive fire broke out in Assam's Lahore region. The entire settlement of 200 homes in the area has been gutted. Cause of the fire is still unknown, but it is said to be accidental. Loss to life and property is being estimated. Tech giant HP is all set to lay off 6,000 people over the next 3 years. Experts say that the 11% dip in sales of HP is the major reason behind these layoffs. HP's decision comes at a time when multiple companies across the world have begun mass layoffs to cut costs. Just days after Donald Trump announced his candidature for US presidency 2024, Kamala Harris has now said that she will also be fighting the election if Biden decides to run again in 2024.
Well, as the president said, he intends to run, and if he does, I will be running with him. And I have no doubt about the strength of the work that we have done over these past 2 years.
Ukrainians could face rolling blackouts because Russian airstrikes have intensified attacks on its power grid. To cope up with the situation, Ukrainian authorities are urging people to stock up on supplies and evacuate from hard-hit areas. A magnitude 5.9 earthquake hit a town in northwest Turkey early Wednesday, causing damage to some buildings and widespread panic. Around 50 people have been injured, mostly while trying to flee homes. Protests have erupted at the world's biggest iPhone factory in the Chinese city of Chengzhou. Videos show hundreds of workers marching, with some confronted by people in hazmat suits and riot police gear. In its statement, the firm has said that some workers had doubts about pay, but that the firm will fulfill pay based on contracts. Cristiano Ronaldo has left Manchester United with immediate effect. The mutual termination of his contract comes months after his tussle with the club went public. A statement issued by the club earlier today said Ronaldo is to leave Manchester United by mutual agreement with immediate effect. Speaking of football though, we leave you with visuals of some Saudi Arabian fans celebrating after their team stunned Argentina in the ongoing World Cup. You must have heard of the term "shut the front door," but one fan actually just took the front door with him. Thanks a lot for watching.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and thank you for joining us on this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. Ladies and gentlemen, at the top of this Wednesday midweek edition, we turn the spotlight to the neighborhood where it's a cause of serious concern. It's not just the political instability or the rising fundamentalist forces or the rise of the fundamentalist forces, but also the fact that this is yet another nation in the vicinity of Bharat that is staring at a dire economic and financial crisis. We saw what happened with Sri Lanka, but the situation in Pakistan seems to be much, much worse, ladies and gentlemen. The Pak economy is currently on a nosedive at this point, and it is a serious concern at this point. Debts and liabilities are at more than $62.42 trillion for this nation. Prices are going to soar, and the hardship for the common citizen in Pakistan is going to be much, much worse because the IMF will push for hard measures. And the moment the IMF pushes for hard measures, that means there will be trouble for the people, there will be unrest, and the nation will be staring at a civil war. But more importantly, along with this important aspect, what does it mean for the region? Now, from a strategic point of view, you may say, good, if Pakistan is suffering, it is good for Bharat, but it's not good for stability in this region, ladies and gentlemen. We'll ask our experts, but let's take a quick check at the numbers. The Pak economy currently is in a nosedive. 62.46 trillion is the total debts and liabilities. That's risen to 12 trillion in Q1 of 22-23. 92.53% is the credit default swap, CDS. The default risk, CCC plus. Fitch has issued a default rating that is from B minus, it's gone to CCC plus. $1 billion Sukuk, or the Sharia compliant bond, matures on the 5th of December, and Pakistan is in all likelihood going to default on that payment. $7.93 billion is the reserve in the State Bank of Pakistan, but it does not belong to Pakistan. 2.3 billion out of that 7.93 billion have been credited by China. 3 billion deposited by Saudi. $1.2 billion loan from the IMF. Not a single money in that reserve belongs to Pakistan. $1 currently stands at 224 Pak rupees, down 1% in the last 7 trading sessions. Our investigations editor Manoj Gupta getting us these details as we take a look at what is happening with the Pakistan economy. Why is the world worried? 1. There could be nuclear weapon misuse threat which looms large in a nation that is in disarray. Political instability, fight within the military establishment, and of course the economic pressures. There's vicious religious extremism which is exploding on ground and which is clearly sidelining the moderates, the intelligentsia, and it's the fundamentalists who are taking over the streets for one reason or the other. Democracy weakening, and of course the establishment, control and sway of the establishment only will increase. Massive refugee crisis that lurks for the neighborhood if this happens. Clearly there are concerns being raised in Pakistan of the population explosion also. But amidst this threat war, there is also China's area of entrenchment that then expands, because China is the one which is perhaps currently the biggest lender for the Pakistanis